Today's lesson is on the order of operations. We will be both simplifying and evaluating expressions. But to do that, you have to perform the operations in a specific order. We have parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. Some students simply remember the order by saying PEMDAS, but others come up with pretty weird sayings. We have, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or pirates eat many dried apple seeds. Penguins eat massive Dorito artichoke sandwiches. Or piranhas eat many dirty ankles and shins. Or maybe pretty elephants make dogs act silly. Come up with your own, whatever helps you remember. Okay, so here's the order. You always want to first find your parentheses and evaluate what is inside the parentheses first. And then you want to look for all of your exponents. So maybe you have 2 to the 3rd power. And then your multiplication and your division are grouped together. And that's because if everything you have left is just multiplication and division, you perform them left to right and not always multiplication before division. For example, 10 divided by 2 times 7. In the order up here, M comes before D. But we don't multiply before we divide because we're going to perform them left to right. So 10 divided by 2 is 5, and 5 times 7 is 35. Now, the last group, addition and subtraction, we use the same idea in which we group them together and then perform them left to right. So in this example, even though add comes before subtract in PEMDAS, because we only have addition and subtraction, so we would do 8 minus 2 first, which is 6, and then 6 plus 4, which is 10. Here's our first example using order of operations. So let's find our parentheses first. 5 plus 3 and 5 squared minus 3. So 5 plus 3 is 8. And then you can bring the divided by 2 down. And then plus, inside the parentheses we have both an exponent and subtraction. I think we can do them both at the same time. 5 squared is 25, and we're subtracting 3. So you should get 22 plus 22. And now we have division and addition. We will do the division first. 8 divided by 2 is 4, and 4 plus 22 is 26. So that was very easy. We did not need a calculator, and in fact I want you to try all of these in today's lesson without a calculator. Here's the second example. We have parentheses and we have brackets. Brackets are just when we have parentheses within parentheses, and you always want to go to the furthest inside parentheses, and we want to do those first. So let's bring down everything that we are not going to simplify yet. 5 times 4 plus 3 times, and now 2 to the 3rd plus 1. 2 to the 3rd, remember, means 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8, and then 8 plus 1 is 9. So now go inside of our brackets. We have addition and multiplication. So let's do 3 times 9 first. So 5 times 4 plus 27, and 4 plus 27 is 31. And 5 times 31 is 155. All, once again, without a calculator. Here's the last example in which we are just simply simplifying an expression. So I want you to pause the video and try this one on your own, and then check your answer. Okay, I hope you got 81. If not, double check your work. In the second part of the lesson, we will be using the order of operations to evaluate expressions. That means our our expressions will have variables, and then you'll be told what the variables equal, and then you have to substitute and evaluate. So in this case, 3a minus 2 to the third power divided by b, where a equals 7 and b equals 4. So first, let's substitute our numbers into the expression. 3 times 7 minus 2 to the third divided by 4. And now let's follow the order of operations. I used parentheses around my 7, but there's nothing to do inside those parentheses, so you can just think of that as multiplication. So exponents 2 to the third is 8. And I also, in my head, know that 8 divided by 4 is 2. So, and I can also do 3 times 7. So see what you can do mental math. 21 minus 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 21 minus 2 is 19. Here's my next expression, a squared plus 2b squared divided by a plus b plus c. And the values of my variables, we have a equals 2, b equals 3, and c equals 6. Now, in this expression, when you have kind of an expression divided by another expression, I want you to think that there are invisible parentheses here and here. So you need to simplify the top, the numerator, and then simplify the denominator, and then division is your last step. So let's substitute our numbers into our variables. So 2 squared plus 2 times 3 squared divided by 2 plus 3 plus 6. So in the numerator, 2 squared is 4, and then I'm adding that to 2 times 3 squared. 3 squared is 9, and 2 times 9 is 18. All divided by, let's see, 2 plus 3 is 5, and 5 plus 6 is 11. And now I just have to finish simplifying the numerator. 4 plus 18 is 22, and 22 divided by 11 equals 2. And there's your answer. Now, with this example, I want you to write it down and pause the video, and then I want you to try it on your own and see if you can get the correct answer without using a calculator. I hope you got 45. If you didn't, go back and find the mistake in your work. You can never finish a good math lesson without a story problem. The formula to calculate the cost for renting a car is R plus 0.12 times M, where R is the basic rate and M is the number of miles driven. How much does it cost to rent a car driven 150 miles with the basic rate of $15.95? So we have this expression, R plus 0.12 M. And it says that R represents the basic rate and M represents the miles driven. And then it gives you two numbers. It says that 150 miles were driven, so that has to do with M, with the basic rate of $15.95, which is R. So now we just have to plug in those numbers for the correct variables. So $15.95 plus 0.12 times 150. Following order of operations, we have to multiply first and then add. 0.12 times 150 equals 18, and we just have to add that to $15.95, and you should get $33.95. And that is, always go back and reflect what your answer means. $33.95 to rent a car at a basic rate of $15.95, and after you drive it 150 miles. So there you go. There's your lesson on order of operations and evaluating expressions.